What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Chasers Podcast. Coming to you live and direct with your host and your moderator, Kevin L. Warren, along with his fellow co-hosts, Dorian the D.A. Albreton, James the Angry One Warren, Mike Mills, Daryl D-Dub Warren, and Dan K, the Hockey Dude. This is a real sports podcast for real fans. This is a sports podcast with no hot takes, no narratives, just real, unadulterated sports talk. Please be advised that there may be some colorful and explicit language. The Sports Chasers are the defenders of the fans. Now, here's your host and moderator, Kevin L. Warren!
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on, everybody? It's another edition to the Sports Chasers Podcast. Good evening and happy Thursday. Hope everybody's doing well out there in podcast land. Make sure, just want a couple of things before we start. Make sure you like it, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you also share our channel. Make sure you also on the podcaster side, on the Spotify and the Apple side, make sure you give us that five with the camera, 5-star review. And also on Spotify, give us some reviews too. Like us, hate us, whatever. Make sure you holler at us, man. Hey, I'm excited tonight, man. Before we dive into our show, let's meet the crew. The DA, who's got something he's eating really good over there. DA, what you eating, man, bro? What's going on, man? You didn't share.
No, but yeah. Ice, baby.
Ice, baby. DA, thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Dan, what's up? The hockey dude. Dan's excited because you know why? Hockey is back.
Yeah, can't wait. Got your Rangers on right now. They're up 1-0 here in the first. We got a few games on the slate tonight. Catch a couple of those late games. But yeah, great to be here. Good to have you, Peter.
Gotcha. Thank you, Dan. D-Dub, what's up, brother? How are you, man? How are you tonight, bro?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Sports Chasers Podcast. Appreciate everybody coming out, being with us tonight. Yo, we got a Texas two-step going in. ALCS. I'm excited.
I say, where's your Phillies hat?
I threw that in the back.
Hat.
That's in the back in the closet, bro. Stop, Dan. What? Toxic Dan starting already, man.
I swear this guy stops at Lids before he gets home, and he buys a hat.
Yeah. Transfer portal, kid. I told you, man.
Junior, what's up, brother? Good evening. How are you, sir? Glad you with us tonight,
guys. Of course, man. Glad to have everybody. Pete, appreciate you showing up. You know what I mean? I'm excited to have you guys on. Just talk.
I appreciate having me.
Gotcha, man. Last but not least, one of our special guests tonight. We got a couple guests tonight. We got Pete Huryk. Am I right? Am I saying your last name correct?
You're saying it about as good as anybody else does. So okay. You usually say Huryk, but the H, some people say it, some people don't. It's completely fine.
Got you. So Pete, we linked up on Pod Match. Like I said, I've been getting a couple of folks, man, and me and Pete actually talked. And Pete does youth sports. He does it from kindergarten all the way up to semi-pro, I believe. I'll let him tell a little bit more. He also has a podcast. He does some international stuff. Pete, take it away, bro. I'm gonna give it to you, man. How are you doing,
absolutely. Bro? Well, I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. I've coached all the way from kindergarten all the way up to semi-pro at one point. At the moment, my main gig is I coach at a private high school here in Virginia, but that's been my thing for the last couple of years. Prior to that, I was coaching at D3 College up in New Jersey. So it's been all over the board. And with regards to soccer, I do a lot of things in addition to coaching. You mentioned the podcast. I run an American podcast for a English soccer club. There's a club that I follow, Peterborough United, which is the shirt that I'm wearing. And there's a podcast over in England called The Yellow Block, and I run the American version of that. It's called Posh Across the Pond. So I do a lot of things with regards to soccer, and coaching is just probably the main thing. I used to be a player, but now my knees won't hold up anymore, and I think that we can all. I think we all have been through some physical decline over the years where we can't run as fast as we used to, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha, Pete. So you say you're a former player. How do you feel about, first of all, soccer am I going to say it right? Is soccer your favorite sport?
Oh yeah, by far. Soccer is the thing that I pay the most attention to. I'm not going to win any friends on this podcast by saying when I did pay attention to American football, I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, but it's been a few years since I really paid attention to that. And the NBA, I haven't paid much attention since Bird retired. I was a Celtics fan back in the day.
You got D. Doug can probably talk to you about not paying attention to the NBA.
Yeah, Pete. I'm about checked out. I'm about to check out. Yeah, I'm about this close.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every time that we talk about the NBA, and one of my, I teach as well, a coach. So a lot of the kids love the NBA. I love basketball, especially college basketball. You get into the NCAA tournament, absolutely love that time of year. But the kids will say, oh, this player's the best, LeBron's the best, or whatever. And then I show them the play of Kevin McHale taking out Kurt Rambis. And it wasn't even a technical foul. It was just a regular foul. The 1980s, it was like this hugely different league than the one now where, you touch somebody's wrist and you get a technical. So I haven't been able to pay attention to it for a while. But I know there's a lot of great shooters out there and everything like that. So I went to an Atlanta Hawks game last year with my kids, but that's about the last thing that I did with the NBA. So.
Gotcha. Junior, you had a question earlier. Go ahead. Fire away.
Oh, yeah. The question kind of stems from, your coaching background. The difference between the parents. I know we talk about the kids, and the kids kind of stay the same, regardless of what sport they're playing, right? They're competitive. They want to be around the game. They want to be around the sport. But as a lot of times parents have this gold aura that they see around their kid, believing that they're the next Lionel Messi or something like that. So talk to me about just like how some of these parents are, because I've heard the stigmas about soccer moms and all this stuff, but I want to hear it from an actual coach.
Yeah, well, the thing is as we said, I think the conversation started off the air with the comment that I made was, the biggest problem in youth sports is often the adults, and the kids go out there and play, and for the most part they want to get better and everything like that. But I think that it's across sports, as much as the soccer moms definitely have that word that's associated with them. I think the thing that really has happened over the past, I'd be willing to say almost 20 years, has been that there's a lot of money that is being pumped into soccer. So it's like, it costs so much to get your kid into a different club or whatever, as opposed to some of the other sports where, it's school related or something like that. So I think that that's where that hyper pressure has come. And I know what you're talking about with regards to everybody thinking that their kid's a superstar, but it's surprising. My brother and I played together in high school. We played soccer together in high school. He played 4 years of college soccer at Carnegie Mellon. I think one of you guys has a Pittsburgh background, but Carnegie Mellon, he played 4 years of soccer. Now he's a football coach in the Baltimore area of Maryland, and so he coaches football now. But he still gets a lot of that same stuff where it's like, my kid's the next whatever football player, he's the best on the team, and why isn't he getting D1 looks and things like that. And it's really tough to, especially for parents, to look at the game as a for soccer, it's 11 players. Same thing for football. It's like see the entire field rather than just having that microscope focus on your kid and how great they are and everything like that. So it's difficult all over the place.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I definitely.
Oh, I'm sorry, Junior.
No, go ahead.
Let me ask you this, Peter. Since you're a soccer, you got the overseas game, which is me, DA, and a couple of us on here knows that the guys across the pond, as they say. What do you think about soccer here in the U.S. and MLS and all that? How's it going? What do you think about it? I know it's not up to the par of course, what's going on overseas. What's your thoughts on that MLS
Okay.
and what they're trying to do?
All right. So I actually did a very, very low budget documentary back in 2011 that was about exactly what you're talking about. Where does soccer fit in the American sports landscape? Because obviously, the number one is football. It's the most popular sport in the U.S. still. You got NBA probably number two, and then you got MLB, and then if you want to throw the hockey guy in there next, NHL. Where does MLS fit? And 10 years ago, plus, when I did that documentary, I interviewed guys like Mike Missinelli and some of the other sports guys from the Philly area, because that's what around where I was living before. But basically, here the thing is that we are finally starting to put money into the game of soccer. So I think we're going to go into I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's not a resurgence because of the fact that I think that this is going to be like a second generation thing. I'm a first generation soccer guy. I started playing soccer despite the fact that my dad played football and baseball and everything like that. My son plays soccer. My friends' kids all play soccer. So I think we're going to see like an incremental increase. The MLS is not as good as the EPL
Right.
or whatever, or La Liga. But the thing is next year, or not next year, 2026, the next World Cup is coming to the U.S., the Men's World Cup. And I think that's going to have a huge impact on where the league ends up going, because of the fact that we are, I don't know what the average age of, like, when a NBA player, for example, hits their prime, but usually in soccer, it's 26 to 28. That's when our players hit their prime. And
That's about right. Yeah.
And so for the 26 World Cup, most of our best players here in the U.S. are going to be in that 26 to 28 range. And I think I'm going to put a hot take out there. I know you guys don't do the hot takes, but we're going to win the World Cup. The U.S. is going to win the World Cup, and it's going to be a huge shot in the arm for soccer in the United States. All right. Now, this is a bold statement, but put all of the pieces together, and that's the prediction that I'm willing to put out there. Is if it doesn't happen, I can take the criticism, but
No, well, absolutely, we'll have you back.
No.
if I'm right, have me back. If I'm wrong, you have me back to yell.
Yeah. We'll have you back either way.
Yeah, either way, we're gonna have you back. But I think you're absolutely 100% right. I mean, for the U.S. for the soccer game to really pop here, I think you're 100% right. You got to get a winner, and nothing is better than get you on the map, and to put you is winning the cup for soccer, and that's really what put the U.S. I think on the map, and I think you're 100% right. Now, as far as them winning it, I don't know. I want to let you take that away.
Well, the thing is what we have here in the U.S. is a very unique sports landscape. If you take a look at the sports that we treasure, football, nobody else in the world plays it, so we're the best in the world at it. Basketball, we were for the longest time the best nation in the world in the way of producing players. But if you want to, look at basketball as like a bit more of a team sport, I think we've gone down. Our individual game is still, and the NBA continues to be the best league in the world, but are all of the best players truly American? And then if you go baseball, are the best players in the baseball league even Americans anymore? So it's a little bit of a weird. We have some of the best leagues for some of these sports, but it doesn't mean that the Americans are particularly the best. So
Best at it.
soccer being the world sport where everybody plays it, for us not to be the best, it makes perfect sense because we're so far behind in how long we've been playing this game seriously. But at the same time, it strikes at our heart as Americans. We want to be the best at everything, and this is one thing that we're not. And that's why I think it's been pushed to the side for a long time, is because of the fact that we want to be the best and we're not the best at this. So we want to kind of hide that fact just a little bit. We want to keep it, soccer's not that important to us until we become the best at it. And then we're going to start pounding on our chests about the fact that we won the World Cup or something along those lines. We take a lot of pride in the women's game, but even the women's team is on a little bit of the decline because of the fact that other nations are really bringing their women's programs up.
Yeah, I think they have the women's program is kind of like its own separate animal because they spend far and away more money than any other women's team. So you kind of expect them to be good, right? Because a lot of other women's teams they're good, but they don't have near the facilities and the infrastructure around the teams and the youth and all those things coming up into getting to World Cup play. And I think that's probably where we have to get better, like our 18 unders. Like we have to start getting good there and placing there. And because then you'll see, like your World Cup team will be good because they were good at 18U. Now, only time that doesn't work is in Africa, and that's usually because of money, So like you have, Kenya or Nigeria will be good 18 under for years, but it's hard to get a World Cup team for a few reasons, but I'll just break it down to money. So if you're going to be in London, living there, making money there, you're going to play for them. Like you're no longer going to be able to play for Africa. So they those things happen over there. But if we can start to get our youth teams to really be serious on the international level, it'll happen quicker than people even think. But that's what you're going to need to have, though, because soccer is a game that it grows. And when it grows, I mean, it literally grows like 16, then 17, then 18, then 19, then 20. Like you usually don't have a kid just jump out of somewhere and it's good. Like it just doesn't happen because it's such a skilled game. You have to have such a level of skill to be good at it. And a lot of these kids, they just come from academies and they're 10, 11, 12 years old in South America, Central America, Europe, wherever. And these kids are so good and they just keep getting better. So that's how you get an Mbappe, at 20, and it's just, it's weird, but it's all good. We can get there.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, you chimed in on. One of the things that is absolutely, it's a problem, but it's also something that we just have to deal with, is we've got things reversed. When you mentioned South America and stuff like that, kids in South America, soccer is their way out of poverty usually. So if you're a poor kid in South America, you play for the local club, you become a great player, and then you can bring your family out of poverty. It's the exact reverse here in the US. In order to play at the highest level clubs, you're paying thousands of dollars usually in order to get onto the team that you want to be on, in order to get into the professional ranks. It's a pay to play situation, which is so vastly different than it is every place else in the world, where the cream of the crop gets picked up by the local professional club in order to build that club's reputation and fill in the academy and everything like that. So there's a structural problem, which they fixed a little bit. There's the MLS academies, which kind of takes care of that, but there's a lot of money grab in the game of soccer, unfortunately, at the lower levels, which just happens.
Gotcha. Besides, let me ask you this, Peter, this other question here. Besides soccer, what is your second sport that you like to play?
That I like to play, or
Play and watch.
that I like to watch.
Watch.
So I was a huge NFL football fan for a lot of years. As I said before, I was a Dallas Cowboys fan for my childhood. I started out as a Cowboys fan randomly when I was 4 years old. On Thanksgiving, Cowboys were playing the Bears. My dad asked me which team I wanted to win. I said the guys with the stars on their hats. And for the remainder of my life, I was a Cowboys fan, even through that year where they only won one game. And that was like my favorite season ever, when they only won one game. It was like this thing of pride of being the underdog. And then they got better in the 90s. My high school and college years were beautiful. But for the last 7 years, I haven't really paid attention to NFL football. And a guy in the comments here has mentioned that soccer is the best floppers. That's actually why I stopped paying so much attention to NFL football, because guys were going out for a pass and they weren't trying to catch the ball. They were trying to run into the D-back so that they could get the call. And I understand the soccer flopping thing 100%. It happens in the game all the time. Some guys are just going for the contact. I get it. But in a game that is meant to have contact 100%, and all of a sudden you're going just for the flag, you don't even want to catch the ball, you're just going to run into the D-back. I kind of lost interest. I'm trying to get back into it now. My son's in high school and he pays attention to the NFL, and so we watch games on the Sundays together a little bit and stuff. So but the red zone thing is freaky for me. There's just too much going on. I watched that channel once and it was too ADD even for me.
Well, God help you, Peter, because if you're not watching it now, you trying to get back into it, I doubt if you'll get back into it, because the game is horrible now. So I'm just forewarning you before you get back into it.
It's only horrible if your team is the Giants. If your team is the Niners, it is not horrible. It's a damn game.
Sir,
but
I'm
riding
with you.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry. That's right. Yes, you good. Don't worry. That was just one for Kev.
Couple of shout outs before. Shout out to Michael and Debbie for chiming in. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Go ahead, D.
Okay, so Peter, quick question. As far as the youth game, right? Now I'm gonna take the parents out because they are innocent buffoons. They don't know that they're being crazy. They're just being crazy, right? So we'll just put that out there, right? But what would you do if you were the commissioner? Like, how many games would you allow age groups to play? Is there too many? What needs to happen, at a youth level to help, move this game forward?
Okay. If I have a magic wand and I'm waving it and
yours.
I'm trying to get things to the point where I actually think that it's going to help the sport. 1, don't specialize until you're at least in 10th grade. I'm all about multi-sports. I think that we have way too many kids who are getting specialized way too early, and therefore they get burnt out on the game before they're truly ready to, make that kind of a decision. We're making a decision for a 9-year-old kid that their life is going to be about a sport. I think that's not helping anybody. So diversification of sports, before 10th grade, don't specialize unless you're the absolute cream of the crop. If you're the next Messi, go right ahead. But, for the most part, most kids need to be playing different sports. Number 2 is no more than 2 games a week. Football, you play 1 game a week because your body needs to recover. Same thing for soccer, and especially for young kids' bodies that aren't really developed yet. They're not in a position to take the pounding that, I don't know how much you guys get involved in the youth sports, but like we've got tournaments that have kids playing 3, 4, 5 games in a weekend. It's way too much on their bodies.
Yeah,
so no more than 2 games a week. And then, recognizing the fact that recreation has become a curse word in most sports now. You're part of an academy, you're an elite, you're this, you're that. Recreation is what most of our athletes are playing. Unless you are a Division I athlete, possibly Division II if you're getting a scholarship from there, or you're a professional, you're playing some form of recreation. I played Division III soccer. It's recreation. It's high level recreation, but it's recreation. We got to get away from this idea that recreation is a bad thing. It's actually a great thing. Sport is one of the best things that we have going for us in this world, and we're taking it away from kids because of the fact that we're making it into something that it's not. Not everybody's elite. Not everybody needs to be playing at the elite level. You know, we're building I wrote a blog post about it years ago. It was a generation of failed professional athletes. It's, you know, all of these kids of having this idea of, I'm going to make it to the pros. I'm going to make it to the pros. It's not going to happen for most of them. And that's okay. You know, so those are the three major things that I would probably throw out there is, you know, reducing the number of games, diversification, and also recognizing the fact that recreation is part of the thing. There, you know, if you think of a suspension bridge, it pulls from one side and the other. If you've got it across the chasm, recreation is at one end, professional sports are at the other. The only way that that middle holds up is if you've got a good pull from each end. And we've got so much of a pull at that professional end where we believe that soccer is supposed to be some kind of a professional elite thing, but we're not pulling at the opposite end where we're going out to have fun. The kids enjoy the game and they're just going out to kick around. You know, you've got a ball and 5 kids, 6 kids, you can go have a game.
Peter, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Listen, we're going to continue with the soccer theme. Peter, you're more than welcome to hang out with us because I got my main man, Jay Kington. He's about to come on to talk about Inter Miami soccer and Lionel Messi. He's set up right now. So if you want to hang around, I'm more than welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. Let me give you some applause here, bro. Let me give you some applause here.
Yeah, right. Where the button?
Yeah, you're frying
I
chicken,
get some
bro.
audio applause. I love it.
And Peter, we're putting together a show within the next month or two for like youth coaches, and you know, just it's baseball, football, basketball. What's too many? When is it too many? You know, just some smart rules for the road for a new parent. You know, and how
it
to
would
keep
be
it
different
fun
for each sport. Like, you know, your body can recover from a baseball game way quicker than it can a football game or a soccer game. Or, so it would be different, but I'd be happy to be in that conversation.
Gotcha.
Well, we're gonna have you there.
Yeah. Well,
Jay.
Peter, thank you so much. Like I said, Peter, you can hang around because we continue with the soccer theme. Got my main man, Brother Jay Kington from the Inter Miami podcast. Jay, what's up, brother? What's happening, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah, see, you had the applause. I was ready. See, Jay has probably been on a whirlwind tour for the last few months, probably since July, since I've talked to him. And I just brought Jay back. The season's over, unfortunately, for Inter Miami. And I just wanted Jay to walk us through what has gone on since the whole thing, since Messi has came to South Florida, came to town. So, Jay, it's yours. Take it away, my brother. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us, man. Thank you.
Of course. Happy to be here. I apologize. Anytime I wear anything pink, it throws off my background because there always have some element of pink in there. So I do apologize.
Oh, no, you good, bro. Go ahead.
But what a whirlwind it has been for the past 4 months, almost 5 months now. Just absolute game changer for all of South Florida, for the entire MLS, for the sport in the United States. Apologize. Now I got the kids coming up here, so I'm going to walk downstairs while I talk to you.
I love us.
I was a little late. I was a little flustered trying to get all the kids
oh no, you good, bro.
Ready for bed and everything. Unfortunately, though, you know, there was some hardship. So, you know, you bet on older European talent, and when they're healthy, they can do great things. But if they run into a little bit of an injury, you know, those can last and linger a little bit longer than you know, some of the younger kids that we have on the team, or younger men, I'll say. So everything did kind of fall apart about around September 20th. There was the international break. For those that aren't aware, you play for your club team, right? And then you also play for your national team. And there are instances where leagues are put on hold, where games are put on hold so that everyone can travel. This is all of Europe does this, basically all of South America. The entire world is on this schedule where they stop league play around the international games. The MLS does not. We're probably one of the few leagues that operate like that. So while they're going away, we're still having to play games. But Messi went away to play 2 international games. Saw him pull up, grab his hammy. Everyone, if you follow sports, you know exactly what that injury is. He ended up re-aggravating some scar tissue. We caught a report about 2.5 weeks ago that it was about a 2-centimeter tear. And so he was out for several games, came back, tried to play him against Toronto. He played for about 15 minutes and then asked to be subbed out. So unfortunately, once Messi went down in the same game in Toronto, Jordi Alba, his buddy from Barcelona, went down, who were 2 really instrumental pieces of kind of turning this thing around, along with Sergio Busquets, who stayed healthy. But unfortunately, with we went from last place to one of the most feared teams in the league. And once we lost them, we kind of reverted right back to where we were. And we were just eliminated from the playoffs. But we did get our first piece of hardware with the Leagues Cup game, which was our tournament, rather, between MLS and Liga MX, which is the Mexican league. So there was some good that came out of this season. And now we're just looking forward to the next 2 years of Messi.
That first game that he played, which was, I think you didn't get a chance to go, but that first game, yeah. Walk us through it, how that game was, because I was on the phone with you texting. I was like, man, and how it ended was just totally amazing.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I was forced to watch that game from home. That was I think the first incident we've ever been denied credentials with the team, because every media outlet in all of South America and the United States was flooding on that. So, I had to take a backseat to some ESPN or TYC Sports. But luckily, that was the only game. And then every other one, they let me come back in. But being at the unveiling, right, which was what they dubbed the event, where they unveiled him to the stadium, which was sold out, just feeling the energy of that. There's only been one game that we've really sold out Drive Pink, and that was when we were playing Barcelona, and they murdered us like 6-0. So I knew something was special there, that there were this many people, this many of the guys that, if you follow the sport, right, there's several individuals that both nationally and internationally, and everyone was there. It was this big party. They had all these celebrities, musicians there. There was it's like a concert almost, with a Messi unveiling between sets. So I knew right then that something was really special about this moment. And then seeing the crowd at the Cruz Azul game, and really every game thereafter, I mean, just being in that stadium and just atmosphere 180 degrees around, it was insane. But that first debut, when he was subbed in, when he got his first touch, and you just hear the place erupt, and then for a game to end in the way it did, with a Messi free kick to seal the win in the dying embers of the game, something so pure, so Messi, so amazing that conspiracy theories were flying that everything was scripted and that this was just his introduction. And we dealt with that for several weeks of everything being scripted and the MLS making it as easy as we can on Messi.
Man, like I said, it was definitely a whirlwind, and I kept my ear to the ground, kept my ear to you guys' podcast, because you guys was on a high, and sort of those kind of things unfortunately, when they started out bad, right? They didn't start off bad, and then when he came along, and they just couldn't make it up at the end to make it to the postseason. So let me. There was one other thing I wanted to ask you. What do you say about those? Once you get in trouble, about those that leave when he subs out?
Yeah, the messiahs, the plastic Messi fans. Yeah.
Oh, they got a name for him.
Oh, that's being generous, right? It's great for the club. It's great for the revenue of the league. I mean, that became the most sold sports jersey in U.S. history. So, I don't want to say anything that'll get me in trouble, but what I understand, I talk with a lot of the different supporters groups, and we interact with a ton of fans. There is a little bit of a disdain from the day ones towards the individuals that never came out prior to Messi being on the team. They do view it as a little bit disrespectful that, Messi subbed out and they leave 15, 20 minutes early, whatever it may be. And, I think what my hope would be that I understand that in the early stages, sure, you're coming here to see Messi, right? I don't know how you'd pay $500 a ticket and then not stay the entire game and get your money's worth. But my hope is that over the next 2 years, potential contract option to make the whole contract 3.5 years, although I don't think he's going to do that. He'll probably go retired at his boyhood club, New Old Boys. But what I'm hoping in 2 years is that some of these Messi fans, Messi stans, as I've heard them referred to, after 2 years, will feel some sort of attachment to this team or fall in love with this team, and that they will be here post-Messi, because that was really this is our brand moment. This is what we're about. We're going to get the superstar. We're going to surround them with up-and-coming talent out of South America, or wherever else we can find them, even in Europe, but obviously a big South American hub down here. And this is just the start. We're already seeing rumors of Luka Modric coming over from Real Madrid, Anton Griezmann from Atletico Madrid, used to play for Barcelona. He is very adamant on coming to the MLS, and Miami is one of his, I think, preferred locations. So we will lose Messi eventually, right? That is as certain as the fact that we're all going to die one day. But I really feel like we're going to start to see a trend of bringing big name talent over here to keep this really exciting and interesting and fresh.
Question. Mm-hmm. The turf versus grass. Right. So what's the groundswell? What are we seeing? Are we seeing more teams looking to go grass? I can understand, why they would want to keep the field turf, because you can do more things with the field that you own.
Yeah.
And it's not just a football thing. It's but if the plan is to, try to continually bring in, maybe we'll use the air quotes, aging stars to come in to help fortify the MLS as guys, are going towards retirement. They're going to want to play on grass because, you play longer on grass than you would on the turf. So I don't, it's not like it's a collective bargaining thing, but have we heard, is there something out there? Is there a carrot that's being dangled out there? So guys will, listen, if guys come here, you'll be playing on grass. You won't be playing on turf. And we'll try to at least get you the 3-4 years that you sign here to, if we can, keep you healthy, rather than put you on turf where, injuries happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this, honestly, because strangely, the vast majority of soccer is played on grass fields all over the world. But then we come to the MLS, and there are still many teams that don't have a soccer specific stadium, right? So like Atlanta is sharing it with the Falcons. So they're playing in Mercedes-Benz. Like, they don't really have the right to say, you need to rip up this turf and we need to put some grass out here. But then there's the dynamic where you see the vast majority of MLS players are calling for this, because it seems that anytime teams, play on grass, things get a little bit more sketchy. Inter Miami has had several injuries when you play on turf, things get more sketchy.
Yeah.
Inter Miami has had some injuries this year playing on turf. We have the ACLs that have been torn. We've lost people for the season. It's interesting, just the transition from grass to turf seems more dangerous versus just if they had to play on turf. And I've seen NFL players saying, like, this is ridiculous. We want grass fields as well, because we see all the injuries that happen in football, non-contact injuries, And even I've seen some animosity coming from the NFL, like, well, if Messi's going to be, you know, if you guys are going to listen to the MLS, like, why won't you take our you know, criticisms as well? So I think something soon will happen, especially for the MLS teams, because they are supposed to have a soccer-specific stadium to play out of. When that happens, I mean, we've seen New York playing out of New York City, playing out of Yankee Stadium. So it's strange. There were rumors that Messi was not going to play on turf at all. He came out and said he's going to play on whatever it is. He's just going to play. But coincidentally, he hasn't played on any turf this year because of his injuries. I think it's the smartest move. I understand from just ease of maintenance, upkeep, you know, that a lot of teams do want turf, especially in the NFL. But if we're going to continue to focus on safety, like we've seen the NFL do a tremendous job on, I think, over the past 10 years, there's still a lot to be done. But if we're going to focus all of this on, you know, brain injuries, head injuries, neck injuries, tackling the right way, I don't know why we're not also considering ACLs, MCLs, knees, hamstrings. You know, and a lot of times on this turf, like being tackled on grass is a lot softer than being tackled on turf. There's cement under that most of the time, you know. So this is going to be a tug of war we're going to see. It's going to take some time. I do think eventually teams are going to start to move in that direction. It's just you have to, in a capitalistic society like America, and, you know, I have nothing against capitalism, love it, but they're going to go for the ease, less maintenance until they start prioritizing health over that.
Gotcha.
I want to interject. If I'm not mistaken, when Inter Miami went to play Charlotte, that game was switched back to Miami. Am I correct? Were they supposed to play up in Charlotte? In Charlotte, yes. I know for a fact because, you know, you stay up there. They have turf now.
Yep.
And that game was.
And Kev, Messi did get hurt on turf, right?
No, he got hurt playing internationally. It was the Bolivia game, I believe. Which he honestly, he doesn't even need to play that game. That Argentina squad could handle that game without him.
He should have retired internationally at this point anyway.
You know, and that's what he did before this World Cup. Came back and then you know, won the World Cup. But so Charlotte was moved because Charlotte and Inter Miami were playing each other in the quarterfinal or semifinal of the League's Cup, and then their league game was the following day. So no matter how you split that, one of those teams is winning and then having to play each other the next day. So it just didn't make sense. So they moved that to this coming Wednesday, and then we play Charlotte one more time on decision day. Not that decision day matters; we're already out of the playoffs, but they moved it around. And, you know, Inter Miami Stadium, Drive Pink, it's not grass. It's hybrid. You're seeing a lot of this hybrid pitch come out, and it's easier to maintain. It's safer than straight turf. It's, you know, it's exactly as the name implies, hybrid. So I would at least like to see that be the standard moving forward.
I did not know that. Any word on it? And I'm sorry. Go ahead, DA. Go ahead.
One more question, because I'm gonna pivot to the Peter, and Jay, you may have ends on this as well. But so collegiately, the fields, most smaller schools are going to have that same, you know, football team plays here, soccer team plays here, field hockey team plays here. Like, you know, you're not going to have a bunch like, you know, UNC where, you know, you may have a separate field. But for schools that are in the lower divisions, is there a move to move things over to grass, or it's just kind of like what we were saying? It's just what is the most cost effective for the institution?
Yeah, I think it's just the most cost effective. I mean, and considering we're also talking about college, right? I mean, those are a lot of times all-purpose fields. Multiple sports are being played there. It's different than having a stadium specifically designated for this sport. So I don't know if we'll see any change on that front. I mean, what breaks my heart and is a continued push is, unfortunately, soccer is probably the fourth or fifth most popular sport in America. It sits behind the NFL, the NBA, trying to fight with MLB to really take that third spot. But until this nation falls in love with the game, and this is a game where once it gets its hooks in you, there's no turning back. I mean, you are going to be a fan for life. You're going to start watching other leagues. You're going to prefer to watch it anytime it's on the television. So until that transition fully happens, I don't think we'll see a lot of soccer specific fields out there in college, unless it is a college that has a pedigree or a track record of having really good soccer teams, where they might be able to get investments, donations, whatever, to build something soccer specific. But there's a lot of colleges out there, and I don't think money is sometimes it's scarce.
It's funny that you said that. So we had Peter, our guest on. Peter's a college coach,
high school coach at the moment, but
yeah.
Where do you coach?
Go ahead. Yes, Peter had a very interesting take.
At private boarding school here in Virginia. So I'm a high school coach at the moment. Used to do D3, and so all the stuff that you're talking about is well within my wheelhouse. And the reason I'm obviously probably a little bit older than you, but the reason I got my start in soccer is because in the 1980s/70s, the New York Cosmos brought Pele and everybody. But it wasn't those players that actually got me into the sport. It was Ricky Davis, who was one of the first American players, came to a block party that I was at and everything like that. So that's how I got my start in soccer, was because of the fact that a professional player who was not one of the well-known players, in the way of the world, but he kicked the ball around with us kids, and that's how I got my start in soccer. And so you're absolutely right. Like, once it gets its hooks into you, you're kind of there for life. But I think that the Messi thing, the thing that people, getting upset about, like, the messiahs or whatever you want to call the fans who are leaving because he's going off the field, you've also got a whole bunch of kids who have a Messi jersey or whatever, and Messi's playing down the street as opposed to Messi's playing across the ocean. And so that memory of, I went and saw Messi play when I was 5 years old, and I've never left the sport. That's going to be the thing that's really going to turn this into a phenomenon here in the United States.
I agree 100%. So I was at, all the press conferences when they announced the, Busquets, Jordi Alba, Messi. Specifically with Jordi Alba, that was something I asked him. I was, outside of winning hardware or winning the league here, like what are your goals in terms of pushing this sport to new heights in this country? Because, we haven't had that catalyst, but there's a massive opportunity, a massive market to elevate this sport and make tons of kids fall in love with it. And that's always kind of been the issue. That's why the men's national team has never really been competitive, right? Because we're playing against people that are making millions of dollars a year. Our guys, even going back way, like 90s and stuff like that, they're maybe making like 60,000 a year, But now we start to see these younger kids getting hooked on it, right? Maybe they grew up watching the Galacticos or, United or whatever it may be. But now we're starting to see that the vast majority of our national team, they play internationally, right? They don't play in the MLS. We have a couple guys from the MLS, but most of them are playing in Europe somewhere because they got hooked on the game, or maybe they were overseas, got in an academy. And I just think it's this long process of change that we're starting to really see the benefits. We're seeing the play improve. We're starting to beat more opponents. We're starting to really flip the script on Mexico to now we're the dominant power of CONCACAF and of North and Central America. But this is still in its infancy, right? The more kids want to focus on this, because I truly do believe the United States has the best athletes in the world in terms of our population size and development. And some of these, like IMG Academy, like this is a pro college level training facility, right? So I that's there, and I think it will happen over time. And that's really been a big goal of not just covering the team, but trying to get other individuals down here into a sport they might not have really watched outside of, the World Cup. And obviously there's a big Latin hub down here of kids who maybe are first generation Americans. And I've ran into countless people at the stadium who, I grew up in Argentina or Colombia, and my dad would take me to the game and we'd walk down the street, and that was my entire youth. And then they come to the United States, and that's not in place, specifically not in Miami, but then a team comes here, David Beckham's team, and then we get Leo Messi. And they feel like they can continue this tradition that their father brought to them. And that's one of the most beautiful things to witness, is that passing of the torch to the youth who just absolutely fall in love with the sport. And then they go out and they join an academy, and then they play, and then it snowballs.
Man, go ahead, Pete. I'm sorry. Did you have a rebut before?
No. He's singing my song. We talked about it before before he got on, about like the documentary that I did 10 years ago, Small Time, talking about where soccer fits in the U.S. and then also talking about the fact that the U.S. is going to win the World Cup in 2026. But anyway,
I've been saying that. I have been saying that.
Two hot takes this day. Look at that. Look at that.
2 hot takes.
2026 is our year. Our average age on the team was like 23.
Oh my God.
2026, it's our year.
That was going to be my final question to both of y'all, and y'all both. So it leads me to believe we're going to have a World Cup podcast show when the World Cup comes back here to the States, man. So both of y'all saying, y'all hear this, America?
At least the semifinals. I fully believe that. I fully believe that.
That's awesome.
But like, I just came from soccer practice with my son today, and he's been to several Inter Miami games with me. But a lot of times,
I used to be season ticket holders at New York Red Bull when we lived in New Jersey, and Thierry Henry is his favorite player and all of that stuff. So, and one of my former players, Brian White, plays for Vancouver Whitecaps and stuff like that. So it's like these things are growing, and the league is heading in the right direction. But the thing is as we talked about earlier, it's that perception that we have here in the U.S. of like, we're second fiddle to Europe, so therefore it makes us feel not as good. Where NFL is definitely the best football league in the world because it's one of the few and only.
Yeah.
So
unless you play against like a small team in like a small league in like France. But I'll tell you what, his attention to the sport and his engagement and his excitement has only risen now the fact Messi's here. And now he's learning the other players on the team. He's only 6. So like now I see the wheels turning. He's starting to get in it. And we just need more of that across the board. And we'll get to where we need to get eventually.
Yep.
Man, this has been very awesome. Yes, it's been a very soccer-specific show here in the first 50 minutes.
Apologize,
but
guys.
No. This is why I brought. There's a method to my madness, right? So Peter got you, and then brought my main man Jay on here, to talk about Inter Miami and Lionel Messi. Man, guys, I appreciate both of you guys so much. So let me give y'all some applause. So let me give you some applause again. Let me give. Where's my applause button? Yeah. There you go. There you go. Peter, thank you guys so much, man. Thank you. We're gonna have you back on it because we're gonna talk about this hot take you got going on. You said the U.S. is gonna win the World Cup, so we will hold you to it. Jay, you our main man. We gotta get you that shirt too. We gotta link up so we can get you that shirt, bro. So thank you guys.
Well, let me know. I'm gonna have a long off season. Maybe I'll come back on and tell you about the best 12 team league fantasy football team I've ever assembled in my life. I do that another episode.
Peter and Jay, man. Jay of Inter Miami podcast. Thank you so much. Peter, tell us where you can be found out and what's your podcast again. And the links will be in the podcast. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, the podcast that I run for the team in England is called Posh Across the Pond. And in regards to my social media, it's just P and then my last name, Huryk. Lots of other stuff I do, but for tonight, that'll suffice.
The links will be in this episode. Peter and Jay, thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate you guys, man. We look forward to talking to you guys again, man. Once again, Peter Huryk and Jay Kington, thank you guys so much, man. We'll talk to you guys later, man. Applause again.
Be good.
And Jay, you guys beat Notre Dame.
Who? Louisville? Oh yeah, no, they did.
Wow.
No, I went to FSU. So I'm like, I got love for both schools. Right now, I'm feeling really good about my college
FSU,
experience.
Yeah, they're number 3, I think, right?
Yeah,
FSU
number
3.
4. It's been a tough 7-year stretch, right? But now
They're
Louisville's
gonna be
back.
okay, though. They got a team.
I love beating Notre Dame in basketball or football. We'll take it. Yeah, I could go on about this, man. You have me on for your college football segment. You guys be good.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks,
Enjoy,
man.
Jay.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Take care, fellas.
Thank you guys, man.
Thank you, guys.
Man, soccer specific we have for me. Now we're going to move along to hockey. Hockey is back. The NHL 2023 season kicked off on Tuesday. Dan, the hockey dude, he's got his Penguins hat on. Dan,
Got the
take it
trucker
away.
hat on.
Take it away.
Trucker penguin.
Hey. No.
Go ahead.
Well, hockey's back. You know,
He got 18 TVs on in the background. Go
I
ahead.
got a game everywhere.
Beer in the side. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
but
man.
You know, it's been a long time coming. I've been waiting for this and waiting. You know, they had the opening night was Tuesday night with the 3 games, and of course, you know, somebody had to work and didn't get to watch any of those, so I had to catch highlights. But you know, it was good to see Connor Bedard. You know, he finally made his first appearance in his first NHL game of his career, which I thought was really cool. Was the head referee always drops the puck at the beginning of the game, and he came skating in and he said, "Hey Sid, you know, welcome back for another season." And he looked at Connor. He said, "Connor, welcome to the NHL. Let's have a great game."
That was pretty dope that he did. I saw that. Yeah.
That was really cool. You know, he got his first assist of his career that night, and they end up winning 4-2. And you know, it's kind of funny for me. You know, is we lost to this team at the end of last year that didn't have this kind of talent. They didn't have Taylor Hall. They didn't have Foligno. They didn't have Connor Bedard, and we still lost. And that's why we didn't make the playoffs. And Kyle Dubas, he unscrewed everything that Ron Hextall and Brian Burke did with the bad contracts, got rid of all those guys except for Jeff Carter. And a whole bunch of new faces, and we're still doing the same shit. You know the old saying, same shit, different day?
No toxic Dan.
Same shit, different season. But, you know, it's game 1. And, I was catching some of the games and going back and watching, recaps of the games and whatnot. And, you know, it's like football. You know, these are the first games of the season. You know, teams are going to struggle with this, that, and the other until they get that chemistry. Because, you know, some of these teams like Pittsburgh, you know, they got, maybe 8 guys that were on the team last year still on the team. Everybody else is different. So, you know, you're trying to get used to, and they didn't play a whole lot in the preseason. You know, they may play 1 or 2 games out of the 6 that they play. So trying to get chemistry and, you know where people are going to be in certain situations, that's going to take time. So the first probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the season, first month, after that, you'll start seeing, you know, a lot better work out of teams and a lot better hockey. But yeah, seeing all the professionals playing and not the kids in the AHL every night, it wasn't preseason. It's good to watch. And that Bedard kid, I mean, I would liken him to kind of like Patrick Kane, in stature.
You said that last night. Yeah.
Yeah, not a big kid. And he's probably 5'10", 5'11". He's probably maybe 180, if that. But the stuff he can do on the ice is amazing. Just watching some of the highlights of, you know, his preseason stuff, veteran defenseman, he just turned him into a pretzel. You know, he faked like he was going to go inside, drug the puck between his legs, went right around him, you know, got a shot on net on a semi breakaway. But the things he can do, like I was talking to Kevin, this kid, if he gets, you know, he's only 18, literally 18. Give him a couple years, you know, this is new to him. He's playing probably in the same age group, like 19, 18, 17, in juniors before he got drafted. Now he's, facing guys that, are 35, 36, 240, like real dudes, like dad strength dudes. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take him some time to get that feel for the game at this level, and then to get his weight up a little bit, get some more muscle on him. But I think he's going to be fantastic. Like, I was thinking about this. I was like, I saw a stat where it was like top draft picks in like I think Mario and Crosby are like the only two that had 100 in their rookie season. Like, even Connor McDavid, I think, had 60. And that he's insane on skates. So I was thinking, this kid's probably going to get maybe like 60 points, maybe 65. But I mean, I watched him play last night against the Bruins. He scored their only goal. I mean, the kid's going to be really good. And I was talking to Kevin, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit, but like, the way the game has evolved from, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s to now. Like, it used to be the defenseman, and when guys coming up on him into the blue line, he'd stick the stick between his legs so he couldn't stride, and then he'd veer him off into the boards to slow him down, when he has the puck. But you can't do that anymore. So that they teach you to put your stick out in the lane, so if the guy tries to shoot it, he's going to hit your stick. Well, like, Bedard's got this interesting thing where he pulls the puck like a good 12 to 16 inches from the outside back into his feet and shoots it all in one motion, and it's an absolute rocket. Like, he can fire the puck.
They was explaining that the other. I think I was on the phone. They was explaining that on the TNT broadcast about that. And shout out to TNT for hockey. They do a phenomenal job. Biz, Wayne Gretzky, I think.
Anson Carter, Lundqvist.
Yeah, Lundqvist. They're on there. I really wish TNT would take the hockey coverage full time from the 4-letter network, but I digress. Go ahead, Dan.
That's how I was going to get into that. It was like, I absolutely think that should be the case. Like, I hate that the other ones got like the full rights to it or whatever, because TNT does such an incredible job. Like, it's like they both have ex-star players. You got Messier in it, then you got what's his name, the defenseman. He used to play for Nashville, Montreal. Damn it!
You talking about
Subban? Yeah, Subban.
Subban. Oh yeah, okay.
I can picture his face.
Yeah, Peter Subban.
So, like, you got those two, and it's like, to me, it seems like that network only has those guys on there to fill the 15 minutes between periods.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they'll show a highlight, they'll talk about it, but they don't really tell you anything. You know what I mean? Where, like, TNT's got, same thing, star power people, but they'll go off the set and go out to the main floor. They got a net and they get the sticks out. And
they're breaking the game down. They're actually breaking the game down and showing you X's and O's of what's going on. So the common fan or the person who don't really know,
the casual fan, can get educated of why this certain play was so special by Bedard, because you had like Biz explaining like what they would do and what they can't do, and then you would have Lundqvist in the net going, look, a guy could have a bomb for the point, but I would rather take the slap shot than have a guy shoot a wrist shot on me where he moves the angle. Because with a slap shot, you can get in position, and from that distance, you can pretty much take up the majority of the net with your body, and chances are it's going to hit you, unless it's an absolute rocket to a specific corner or whatever, or your screen. You can't see it. But with that wrist shot, like he was saying, where he set up for the shot in front of him, well, when that puck moves over just, 10, 12 inches, it changes the shot angle to where the goalie is now kind of out of position. so it gives the shooter more of an angle. And like I was telling Kevin, if you go to line up and take a shot, right, and you got the puck out to the side, and you look at the goalie standing there, and you go, okay, I see what I can shoot at. But then walk behind the puck and have somebody else stand there like they're shooting like you just were, and now you can see the extra distance that you have just because where that puck is. Right. And then if you're changing the angle in or out, that changes the shot angle going towards the goalie. So and his wrist shot's just ridiculous, and it's accurate. So that it's a lot harder for the goaltenders. But that's what I love about TNT. Like, it doesn't matter what it is that, they were talking about that particular play, but then they talk to other stuff like, breakout plays or, whatever coverage that they should be doing in the zone. So they kind of educate whoever's, watching the game that's not like a diehard fan.
Listen, I was educated that I'm telling you, when I was on the phone with you, how they like you said, Subban, they pulled it back and all that stuff. No, Anson Carter, excuse me. Him and Biz was talking, and I was like, man, this is really good. I said, you don't get that on the 4-letter network. Like you said, they just got star power there, and we're not gonna bag on the 4-letter, but I really wish TNT had the rights to all of the NHL season. They really break it down. They really do a good job. They do a good job of promoting it. I don't understand how a sports media entity has the rights and don't. But that's another show for another time. Dan, what are some of your predictions upcoming, or am I going too fast for you?
Well, I was going to say, in that regard with TNT, the problem is with that is TBS is kind of the same family, and they got basketball. But I would rather see 2 or 3 games a week on TNT opposed to the other one. I'd rather the other one have like 1 game a week. Like, okay, they got Wednesday night hockey. They show 2 games on Wednesdays, and then TNT have the rest. But like, that's what I like about TNT is they educate, and then you get the cool stories between the former players and all that good stuff. But like, the other kind of like with Bedard too, I thought, you always talk about, okay, you got all these young stars. How do you grow the game? And I think like they don't go bananas with it, but like leading up to opening night, they would have a picture of Crosby and a picture of Bedard, and they would be standing like facing each other, but like in like a backdrop like we got for our logo. And, they would promote the game. Well, guess what? Tuesday night ESPN, they had him against the Penguins. And they played the next night. He was on TNT. So, they're putting him out there and putting him on national games without the, Swifty exposure where they're just, choking you on it. So I can appreciate that. And I will say this.
Major pause.
This is hilarious. So the dude, so tradition is rookies, their first game, when they have warm-ups before they start the game, they're always sent out first, and the rest of the team waits in the hallway and gives them a couple laps to go skate around by themselves. So back in the day, but back in the day, they would, be able to go out there without a helmet. Well, you've seen, there's been instances where, they're warming up, a puck gets tipped or whatever off the post or whatever, and it hits somebody in the head and they got to go get stitches. So I think it was 2019-20 that if you came in that year or after, it's mandatory that you wear a helmet in warm-ups. So not only did he get his first assist, but he got his first fine in Pittsburgh because him and the other rookie on his team came out and skated without the bucket on. So they both got their $2,500 fine.
Oh boy!
Damn, NHL. That's really a rule, Dan. That's a rule.
I think it's rule 9.5 or 9.6.
Oh God, Jesus. Okay, yeah.
Because I read the article and they listed the rule, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean,
Jeez.
Oh,
you know, to have that experience like that you've grown up watching, you know, guys in the past come out and warm up without the bucket and all that stuff, you know, get the lettuce flowing in the air, you know, you got to do it once. And they, you know, when they played in Boston the next night, both of them had their helmet on. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I just thought it was funny. He got fined first thing.
Shout out to
damn.
shout out to my main man Corey. Corey, what's up, bro? Thank you for chiming in, man. Thank you for tuning in, man. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, they had him on the first couple nights, and then what was it? The Vegas, like I didn't watch much of the Vegas game because I only got to see a little bit of it, but I did catch the unveiling of the Stanley Cup
That
banner.
introduction is crazy, bro.
Yeah, and you know Vegas is all about
Vegas is
the show.
It's all about the flash and the show. But yeah, they got it. You know, they got it going on.
Yeah,
man.
so they had a big slot machine by the one face-off dot in the corner, and they had Stone put the cup on the table beside it and went over and pulled the lever, and of course it came up, you know, Stanley Cup, and then the banner came out of the slot machine.
It was crazy,
nice.
bro.
That's dope.
Yeah, but you know it's you know Vegas, and then I don't know if any of you guys have seen this. You know how Super Bowl, MLB, whatever, they always give the team a ring, and I saw a picture of the ring that the Vegas Knights got. It's a little gaudy, but it's absolutely dope. Like the top of the ring comes off completely, and inside is an ice rink and stands.
Wow, crazy.
Damn.
I was like, nah, I thought that was, you know, it's super unique.
I'm not mad at that.
No.
And like I didn't read all the because what they do is they put a bunch of meaningful things from the cup run on the ring itself. Like, you know, if whatever special play happens and they nickname it something, you might get like the initials of that somewhere on the ring.
This
Just, you know,
ring is unbelievable.
yeah, it is absolutely great.
It's like wow. That's
And
insane.
I'm guessing that probably about a $500,000 ring or more.
Each.
They got it.
Mm-hmm. Per everybody, even the coaching staff, the equipment
Yeah.
trainers.
So Dan, again, the prediction, Rangers going to the Stanley Cup, or
No.
No,
that's what you?
no. They're beating up on Buffalo
man.
right now. Nah,
Yeah, it's 3-0, baby.
I know.
We in here.
I know. But
It's still early, right?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to see how these new guys fit in because like Kane's gone, Tarasenko is gone, you know, and now you're going to have some different guys filling in for those spots. It just depends on how they gel. It's like we always talk, you know, whether it's a free agent or a trade acquisition or a trade deadline guy. It's do they fit what you're trying to do?
Right.
Because sometimes, you know, you trade for somebody and it's kind of like a package deal. You want player A and you want to get rid of this player on your team. So, you know, your guy might be a little bit better than the guy you want. So they throw somebody else in. And that happened with us. We sent like Colby Armstrong and I forget who else to Atlanta back when they were in Atlanta, the Thrashers, the first time.
Yeah.
And we got
Look at that thing.
oh
That
shit,
thing's
what was his
beautiful.
name? Marion.
For those that don't see, I'm displaying the Vegas Knights rings on the screen. I'm sharing my screen here.
Yeah. So you see like the little caption things. So each one of those like that they put has a meaning to that team.
Mhm.
Which I thought, you know, that's really cool and it's special and unique. I think it's absolutely dope that they put the arena inside the ring.
Yeah, that was a lot of intricate work.
That is.
right
But
there.
like I was saying, so like, you know, we traded for Marion Hossa and we sent them Colby Armstrong and I forget who else. But Pasquale Dupuis was kind of a throw-in from Atlanta to Pittsburgh. And then like we, you know, Hossa was with us, I think maybe a year after the trade. But he ended up leaving to go to Detroit in free agency. But Pasquale Dupuis turned out to be one of the better players out of that entire trade for what he contributed to that team and their Stanley Cup runs and stuff like that. So, that's why I say, like, don't even get worried about, like, the first, I don't know,
Yeah,
3 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shesterkin just got told.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question. One more question for me. As far as the season last, the playoff season, playoffs when it started, nobody was talking about. We thought Florida was going to get out of there. Florida ended up going all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Did they retool? What did they do? Anything special, or did they stay pat with what they had?
That's how I was looking. So they still got Bobrovsky in goal. And they got Stolars as a backup. Now they still got Barkov. Now Evan Rodriguez, who played with Pittsburgh, that went to Colorado last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's now in Florida. They still got Tkachuk, Verhaeghe, Reinhart, Lusteranian, Nick Cousins. I think Lorentz is a new guy. Let's see, and I think Kulikov is new to their team,
Right?
And Nico Mikola, I think he played for you guys. So they made some changes. They got Oliver Ekman Larson too,
and then pretty much they just got hot. We shouldn't see them.
I'll put it this way: look at what the Phillies are doing right now, and baseball. They got hot.
They got in rhythm,
and they got and they got that belief, and they're just on a roll. And playoff hockey, so it's not like football where, hey, we play on Sunday and then we're not going to play again until next Sunday. So we got time.
Right.
We got time to scheme and forget about it and all that good stuff. Man, Stanley Cup is every other day you're playing. Well, basically unless the series ends for some teams and the other ones go the full 7 games, then there's a little bit of a break. But it's back to back. You're playing 3-4 times a week. So, they got hot, and once you get that belief that you can't lose, and you got to remember too, Chuck, he played out of his mind. Like,
hot goalie.
He was like the will to get those goals, to tie it up, to bring it back against Boston. And and they absolutely ran the gauntlet against the Eastern Conference, because I think it was Boston, Carolina,
and who was the last?
I'm trying to think who the third team was, but it was Toronto.
What?
Yeah, it was Toronto.
Yeah.
So they beat like the big dogs.
Yep.
Yeah, they beat the big dogs. So and you get that confidence from winning. And they were just on cloud 9. Now
they was,
but the problem is by the time they got to that Stanley Cup final, their bodies were beat up. It takes longer to recover. You played a lot of hockey. I think most of this series went 6-7 games. So
did they get a game in the finals?
I think they got.
I think they got one. They got one. Yeah,
but that's what I say. Like, they got on that run, but then unfortunately, when they met Vegas, and Vegas was they were a juggernaut last year.
It was a gentleman's sweep. We give you one.
Yeah, we want to win this at home.
Yeah, we give you one.
But that being said, like, predictions wise, I wish Pete was still here, because it's like the Cowboy fans. Every year, it's our year. We're winning the Super Bowl, and that's the same thing out of the Toronto fans. Oh, this is our year. Bullshit.
Toronto fans talk like that?
Yeah, we got one Cowboy fan on. If Corey Davis is still on, Corey, shout out to my man Corey. Corey's a huge Cowboys fan.
You know what I'm talking about, Corey.
We going. See,
every year we're going.
We going, man. Damn, before we
Corey Davis, delusional Cowboy fan. Huh?
Damn, before we anything else, before we hop onto baseball real quick, because we got.
Well, I was just gonna touch a couple of things from
Go ahead, bro.
With the Toronto thing. So everybody was saying, oh, it's their year. And Montreal wasn't very good last year, and I don't know that they're that much better from last year. They were up. What I think it was 5-3 with 9 minutes to go in the third, and Toronto came back and won that game in the shootout.
Right.
And that's why I say, like, the goaltending. Samsonov played last night for them. I mean, he gave up 5 goals and 24 shots. But like I said, these are the first real games, that they're actually playing hard for the 60 minutes. But like, they made so many changes. It may take them a little while to get this
Get
it right, because I mean, they got Kelly Yarncroke, Tyler Bertuzzi, Max Domi. They brought in Ryan Reeves, which it didn't take him long to get in the first fight of the season for him.
Ryan Reeves.
And I don't know how to pronounce this gentleman's name, and I apologize, but it's Arbor, Xhekaj. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but he plowed somebody in the corner, and then Arbor came in and dropped the gloves. The only thing that I was kind of bummed out is he kind of dropped the gloves and went after him, Reeves. And so by the time Reeves turned around, he was already getting punched in the face. I wish he would have been like, grabbed him, like, you got to step up for that and squared off, because that would have been a great fight. But like, that's why I say with Toronto, they got so many new faces, and is the goaltending still going to be an issue? And then again, it's beginning of the season, but Canucks played the Oilers that same night, and they put up a snowman on the Oilers. They won 8-1. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And the only goal Edmonton scored was a power play goal. McDavid -3, Evander Kane -4. I'm like, this team's supposed to be a contender.
Wow.
And Vancouver was not very good last year either. Now, I'm sure they got some guys back that were injured and, that kind of thing, but still, they're not that great. At least I don't, like, right now they're not. But yeah, they absolutely pummeled. And like, same thing with Toronto. They got Stuart Skinner and Jack Campbell's goaltending. They both gave up 4 goals. And it was the same thing when we watched them play Calgary last year. One goal would come in and get lit up in the first period. They put the other guy in. They were winning, those games, Calgary and Edmonton, like 9-8, 9-7, 9-6. I mean, for a playoff game where it's supposed to be tight checking.
Right.
Tight.
So that's where, like, I'm going to let this marinate for a little bit. I want to see how some of these teams, like Colorado, they're still one of my favorites. Vegas, still one of my favorites. Carolina's still going to be one of my favorites.
I heard there's some picking Carolina. They think the Hurricanes got enough to get it done.
Yeah, well, and Svechnikov's still out, rehabbing his ACL from March. So they get him back. We'll see. That just improves their team. And like Boston, it was weird for me to watch a Boston game and Bergeron wasn't in the lineup. And Krejci, they both retired. Big Bird, he's got to see now. Marchand, the little rat, and he's doing rat things. That's what I was gonna say.
Got to see now.
Yeah, he's got to see, and he's shown, leading the team by example. He tried to drag
his ass.
No, he just tried to drag Bedard into his bench.
He showed his ass, man.
I saw that.
Yeah,
he was such a jerk off with that, man.
Yeah, he just said, "Hey, welcome to the league, kid. You're gonna be dealing with this shit all year."
Yes.
But I wouldn't expect anything else from Marchand. I mean, like I said, that dude plays on your team, you love him. Like, if he played for Pittsburgh, I love the dude. But when I see him play, he just gets my blood pressure up, and I just curse the screen and like, somebody hit this asshole. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think looking at it, like all the young talent that Jersey has, I think they're gonna not be they're not going to be a surprise. I think they're going to play up to their potential. So I would see them like in upper portion of the standings in their division. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of love for Toronto. Like they're going to do great in regular season, but it's the playoff mentality. Because, like we said, Florida had way less talent, and they bullied the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So it's whether or not you're going to put Reeves on the bench and play him as 4 or 5 minutes a game to deter that, or are you going to put somebody in there that might be able to make a difference on the score sheet? So that's, like I said, that'll play out. And like I said, Vegas, they're looking at, and I think Chicago is not as bad as everybody thinks they're going to be. And, Anaheim's probably still going to be bad. San Jose is going to still be bad. We'll see how Arizona does at the Mullet Arena this year, if they improve any.
They gotta move that. They gotta do something about that. That's something gotta be done. Me and you talked about that, playing in that that little kiddie rink. They gotta do something.
That's not gonna happen for a few years though. So,
but I did want to say, I wanted to give a shout out to Barry Melrose.
Yes,
I know he retired from ESPN, and I'm not going to get into the details. I know I think it was health related.
Yeah.
But always loved that dude. He was kind of like the States Don Cherry. Had always had the mullet.
Yeah.
Good, great stories. I enjoyed watching when he was commentating or doing in between periods. That's what they're missing on the other network in between periods. I think someone that brings eyeballs to makes you want to stick around and watch the in between periods, because most people are like, let me go get something to eat, let me throw the clothes in the laundry.
He said some things to keep your eyes on it.
Well, watch TNT.
Yeah,
because clearly ESPN doesn't.
Okay, stop. Okay.
Dan, I'm sorry for interrupting you before you end the hockey. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just want to thank him for what he did for the sport, and like the things that he did to grow the sport. Like, I'm kind of bent a little bit that the Swifties are in the NFL. They got enough eyeballs over there. Why couldn't we, like in the preseason, designate the single guy out of all the teams and be like, okay, you're going to date her so we can get the eyeballs on hockey?
Now that I can see.
And same thing, MLS. They want to get eyeballs on their sport. That's you gotta rope in one of those, stars that has a following fan base like that, and you'll be set. And Daryl, why the hell are you watching the Bronco game?
Yeah, bro.
Thursday night football is shit.
And the game is terrible.
That's Thursday night. That's every Thursday night.
Yeah. DA said it last week. All the Thursday games suck. That's Dan with hockey. Dan, thank you so much. I'm going to give Dan some applause. We need some theme music. We need some theme music for Dan. Gotta find some theme music for Dan.
You need some rock star stuff.
Yeah, you need something. We really need something. So those that saying that we're about to
get fined. Boy, Dion trademarked that, Dan. Don't say that too candidly now.
DMCA or whatever.
We're gonna move along to baseball. For those, yes, we're at our 90-minute mark, but we had so much to get in. We need to talk about baseball real quick. It ain't real quick. We're gonna talk about baseball. I'm gonna start off with the obvious. The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Let's talk about it.
For the 8th year in a row. Well, no, not the 8th year in a row. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say you little exaggeration on that.
Besides the COVID year, where they won, let me look in this camera, where they won the World Series, the Bubble Championship, them and the other team that plays in the Forex Arena, whatever they call it, Staples Arena, the basketball team. They both won in the COVID year. The LA Dodgers have been to the postseason since 2014 every year. They have been slated to win the World Series or get there every year. And they keep doing things like this. They got swept last night from the Arizona Diamondbacks, who only won 84 games during the year. Let me do it by the numbers. the Dodgers started a pitcher. What was my man's name? He gave up 44 home runs during the year. And what did you expect when
Lynn.
he got into the game? I'll pull his name up.
Lynn. Last name, I believe, Lynn.
Lynn, right. Got to the game, gave up 4 home runs there, I believe in the 4th or the 5th inning. I watched it. There was one where one of the Diamondbacks, he hit, it was a controversial, not controversial, but it was rule foul. Next pitch, out of there. 4-0. Arizona goes on to win the game. The Dodgers sheepishly scored 2 runs in the 7th inning, but they had no fight. Mookie Betts and I love him. The first baseman, Freddie Freeman. They only had 1 hit between the two of them in the 3 games. So one might ask, is it the pitching? And then don't forget about the pitcher, the lefty. I was going to say Oral Hershiser, but it's not Oral Hershiser.
Kershaw.
Yeah. I'm sorry, D.A.?
Kershaw.
Yeah, Kershaw. Kershaw started game 1, and he didn't get nobody out. Yeah, Dan doesn't need no NyQuil. He's just coughing.
I was choking. Sorry.
Yeah, he didn't get out the first inning.
The Dodgers, I'm going to give it to D-Dub. The Dodgers have some questions they need to answer, but what do they do? I'm reading where Kershaw, he don't know what he's going to do to come back. Reports about Dave Roberts. Is he the issue? D-Dub, take it away. Your thoughts on the LA Dodgers?
You're going to have to start with Dave Roberts, man. I'm like, what? The guy that your pitcher, he gave up 4 runs. Home runs. 4 home runs. I mean, and it's like, they didn't have, the Diamondbacks took the air out the stadium quickly. And you didn't even feel like they was gonna, make a comeback or anything. At least
the Dodgers, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Looking at the Dodgers standpoint. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to start with the guy who's running the ship. Dave Roberts, man. This is the 2nd year in a row, right?
Yeah. Dodgers won 100 games. 100 games. Let me ask you this, D. And you talked about this off here, but I'll ask the panel too. What do you think about, I saw this on Fox Sports, one of the guys, Fox Sports Radio. And they were saying that, hey, baseball is not set up to be like football where, they get a bye and, these guys might not be in rhythm. Do you agree with it?
I'm not going for it, man. I'm not going for it. I mean, listen, man. Baseball is played, they got time off. I mean, any other time they bitching about not having no time off.
It's not the NBA, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I would say that like the team that does get to bye usually does come out slow because the other team's been playing, they're winning, their confidence.
Well, Dan, go simulate a game. I mean, what are we talking about?
I'm just saying.
What are we talking about?
I'm just saying. You sitting around waiting.
That's your fault. That you sitting around waiting. You said it. There you go. Sitting around waiting
to play the series. You're still taking batting practice and whatever.
Evidently, they ain't practicing hard enough.
Well, I mean, if you look by the numbers, look at the Orioles won 103 games, gone.
Bro, I'm not really into excuses and all this other stuff. You won 100 games. Sorry, I really don't want to hear it. I really want to hear what DA got to say because he's looking like he's really looking like he's disgusted right now.
Nah, man.
DA, your thought on the
that was your team. That was you told me that the Dodgers in Atlanta is going to be there.
No, I said the winner of the
Philadelphia
and Atlanta series.
Let me get it right.
The World Series. That's what I said. And I'm still going to be right. But that being said, man, the team that comes into it, baseball's always been team that comes down to the end with the best combination of bats, a pretty good pitching, usually will get to the end. So, we've seen teams win 100 games before in the regular season. It's just that when the series starts, man. If it's not ready and if it's the wrong matchup, you're gonna be out of there.
Seattle,
You know?
1995.
Yeah, I mean,
That's right.
It's
We've
happening
seen this
all
before.
the time. So I got nothing against. I ain't got nothing against Dave Roberts because he's not playing. I mean, they evidently they got to do some things from a team perspective. You know, they got to get guys out. You know, but the team itself has been playing well the whole year. Baseball is a slump sport. I guess they got slumped because that's what happened, and they are gone. You know, it really wasn't. Yeah, you try to look for something, but there really wasn't anything there other than this team is hitting balls that were, you know, they're putting the ball in play, and that's what they did. Like there was no crazy, you know, shutouts and this. Didn't happen. Other team just put the ball in play more. That's it.
Yeah, well, you could say the same. And I know I'm flip-flopping back. Look at Texas and Baltimore. Baltimore, they did phenomenal. They won 101 games, I believe. Texas got them out of there in 3 games. And both Baltimore, the Orioles, and the Dodgers had home field advantage. So I hear now guys are saying, yo, they need to change the format. I mean they had home field advantage. The Mets had home field advantage last year, right?
They lost.
It's
not that hard.
You just gotta do better. Win. And D-Dub, I'm gonna rock with DA on this. I don't think changing Dave Roberts is the answer. Yes,
Okay.
I know I was a little dramatic in my opening with baseball, but I don't think he's the answer, man.
He doesn't play, but he does call. He calls the shots.
He's not pitching.
He doesn't play, but he calls the shots.
They need
he
more.
Doesn't play, but he calls the shots.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave it like that.
Okay. All right. So who's your prediction for this year? Since we're in the playoffs, since the Yankees ain't.
Well, I thought the Dodgers was gonna make it. I thought it was Dodgers and
no wonder you mad.
And Baltimore. That's what I had. But
no wonder you mad.
Yeah,
that sounds like the episode to me. Go ahead.
I put the Baltimore hat up, and
clearly,
and, I got Texas, and I got a Houston hat. So
clearly,
next week you'll see me with the Houston hat.
You got all 30 teams.
I got them all. I'm ready. I'm not gonna be Dave Roberts. No, sir.
Yo, I mean, we've seen it happen in postseason. Things like it
happens, man.
Denver Nuggets. Who was that? Mutombo, when he was crying on the floor, they beat Seattle that year. Seattle was the best of the best. Yeah, and then the NBA. They did some jacked up stuff. In my opinion, they made the opening series 7 games now. So
you know why it's bad, because throughout our lives we've seen this happen before. Yes. To teams who have talented teams, and they waste it, right? So remember the Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh, sorry, Dan. But the Pirates, when they had Bonds and Andy Van Slyke, all them dudes back in the day, and they couldn't get over the hump for whatever reason.
We got robbed. He said Braden was out at home.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Hey, Dan, I'm trying to make a point, sir. But the point being here is that we've seen these teams. I just hate when they waste the time, because man, these guys on the Dodgers, man, there's a lot of talented guys on that Dodger team, and they won't. You never know who comes next year and who becomes that dynasty. Just like what happened with the Yankees the following year. Then it was the Yankees' time, and they ran. I mean, they basically ran the 90s, the mid 90s, up until the 2000s. So this is what happens during this kind of when you got a talented teams such as the Dodgers, and they 2 years in a row. I don't know, man. I know y'all like Mr. Roberts, man, but you might have to start looking.
All I'm saying is it's like anything else, man. Coaches are hard to come by, and
I get it, D. I get it. You know, I'm not one of the ones that
if he ain't the one losing, then shoot, you get rid of the coach, and you still got a bunch of bad players and a good coach. You still ain't gonna win.
Yeah.
Let me switch to the other series. The Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves. The Phillies have been playing out of this world. I know Bryce Harper, they're up. The Braves are up 1-0 in the fourth. Phillies are up 2-1. Bryce Harper, man, he's on fire, man. If those didn't look last night when he had to stare down to my main man at second base, when he hit that first home run. Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was gonna say he did it twice. He stared him down.
Yeah, because allegedly they was talking junk about him, and they got back to Harper, and hey, Bryce Harper, they've been kind of labeling him the new Mr. October, and he's been fitting the bill, man. He's got the Phillies to the World Series last year, along with their pitching. The Phillies have good pitching, and like DA said, and all jokes aside, pitching is what does it in the postseason, right? Pitching and timely hitting. Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts did not hit these 3 games. They didn't. They took this opportunity to have a slump, and lo and behold, this is unfortunately what you got.
And Lance Lynn didn't pitch well.
So. Well, that is.
I mean, Dave Roberts, man. Again, but go ahead. Go ahead. I'm off Dave Roberts now.
No, clearly you're not. But go ahead.
No, I'm finished, man. Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was gonna say I watched the game. I was at last night, the Phillies game, and I thought it was like we went back in time, like it was mid-July, and we were having the All-Star game, and it was like home run derby. I was waiting for them to bring out the different colored balls for overtime. They hit what 6 home runs
between Brandon Marsh and Harper. Yes,
the Castellanos.
Yeah.
I think he had 2.
Castellanos. Yep.
Harper had 2, and they weren't line drives. They were like skying the ball out of that place.
Moonshots.
And Lackey told me don't get on here and diss his Braves. He said I could say that their pitching's horrible, or it has been going down the stretch, and definitely. But I'm going to say this about the Major League Baseball playoff system. So the first round wild card series is what, 3 games?
Yes. Correct.
Then this one's 5.
Yes.
Next one's 7.
Correct.
And the series is 7.
Yes.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Go ahead and play your 3 games at the play-in game or wild card round, whatever you want to call it. But after that, every series should be 7 games.
I totally agree with you.
And I say that because if you notice, a lot of the teams that had the bye didn't do jack shit. And that would give them the opportunity, since, they should get an advantage for being the best team in their division or American League, National League, or whatever, but they shouldn't be punished that they sit and then they only get 5 games to play, and before you know it, 3 games are gone, they're out. A 7-game series gives them an opportunity.
Like that.
I 100% agree with you on that one, because now the bye. I'm not going with about the bye. You got to buy. You got time off, but the 7-game series thing. Yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be 3 then 5. No.
I'm okay with
you got the bye. You should get the 7 games. Just in case if you get a hiccup.
Oh, but you guys are hypocrites. You just talked about the NBA and the NHL.
What do we say?
Yeah. What do we say? Every round in Stanley Cup playoffs is 7 games.
7 games.
We don't have a play-in game. Nor does baseball. I mean, they did have that before. The wild card game was only 1 game, and they moved it up. And I'll even go this far. You can take the 162 game season, make it 140, but add those games to the playoff round, the second round. Make it 7, and you can cut the season back 20 games.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good thought. Good brainstorming because they'll get game for game, and you'll get more games, and yeah,
you'll get a better product too.
You get a better product, and you'll end the season roughly the beginning of September,
and possibly have the right teams in the World Series because you're playing 7 games. You're playing a series, an actual
and
series.
also combat. And me and DA always talked about this. Like Junior may not know, but baseball used to rule, and we might need to do our own documentary on how baseball has went into decline, and now they're scurrying to try to get their product back up. But you go back to those times, man. One never knows, man. So who knows? But
1-1.
It's 1-1. Okay, 1-1. Dodgers.
1-1.
Excuse me, Dodgers. Braves and the Phillies.
So you wish.
Castellano or whatever his name is just went deep again.
Yeah, I think this is his second home run in this series. I watched a little bit of Minnesota and the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros advanced to the league championship, the American League Championship. It'll be an all Texas 2-step against the Rangers. Shout out to the Astros pitcher that went from the Mets. What's his name? I can't think of his name, man. If you would have heard him in the locker room yesterday, it was funny. Everything was a F-bomb.
Did they get Verlander or did they get the other?
Yeah, it was Verlander who was dropping all the F-bombs in the locker room after the game. So Astros and Astros and Rangers for the American League Championship, and now all we got to do is just see who's going to face Arizona between Philadelphia and the Braves. And Philadelphia wins tonight. It's going to be over, and the Braves, another 100-win team, out of the loop, but gone. But hey. Great show tonight. I know we went over a little bit, but we had a lot to cover. You know what? We're gonna give us some applause here. Now I got this thing going. Shout out to our guests Peter and Jay for coming through and talking about soccer, man. Yes, we talk all sports. This is a sports show, so yes, we talk all sports. So shout out to them. Shout out to Dan. Like I said, I know Dan's happy because hockey is back. We talked some baseball. So those might ask, oh my God, what happened to football? Well, we have our own standalone football shows. That means you need to check us out. Fourth and Short is on Mondays, 7:30 p.m. every Monday. It's supposed to be in the morning, but life has gotten in the way, so it's been at 7:30 at night. Half an hour, we talk to you about the NFL. Sunday mornings, we get at you with college. The college, we call it the Gridiron Rundown. We talk about all the top 25 college football happenings. You got to get at us. Me and DA and D-Dub got this thing going where DA says either you need to cut the lawn or fool
do the yard work.
Yeah. So
take the misses out. Either one.
Yeah.
Do the yard work.
Yeah, do the yard work. So you gotta make sure you get at us at the college Gridiron Rundown that we do for college football on Sundays at 10 o'clock, man. So, man, great show. Thanks to our guests. We're going to do our parting shots. I'm going to start off with the hockey dude. Dan, what you got for us before we get out of here?
Oh, I was just going to say, great show.
Yes.
Shout out to Mikey and Eric. Missed you guys. One thing I did want to ask is I'm curious to how much time Miami University spent on the victory formation this week.
Jesus.
I'm just curious, but that being said, for those, I know we talk about all sports, esports included. Last week was the PlayStation 5 beta for the new Modern Warfare 3 Call of Duty. Now it's PC and Xbox this weekend. And then I think they have one more weekend where it's everybody. But, had a great show. Thanks to Peter and Jay. I love when we have guys like that on the show, because I follow soccer a little bit, and I've coached hockey, street hockey, and stuff with kids and stuff. So it's always nice to get the someone else's perspective, how that works, and all that stuff going on. So shout out to them. Loved it.
For sure.
Hopefully we can have more of that.
Gotcha. Thank you, Dan. Junior, what you got for us, bro?
Man, great show. Really, really good show. Shout out to Pete. Shout out to Jay, coming on. I actually, funny enough, just watched that David. I don't know if y'all seen that David Beckham documentary they have on Netflix.
Yes, I watched it. Yes.
At the end of it, I had no idea Inter Miami was David Beckham's team. I swear to you, I had no idea. So it was cool to have him on after watching it so I could just kind of connect it. Other than that, Kansas City up 10-0. Russell Wilson need to get
trash.
It's something. And hope y'all get some good night rest, man, especially the big DA, man. I can see him over there doing his thing, man. You know, doing his little nods.
Lean with it, rock with it.
Gotta get him to bed, man.
I'm on it.
What is this, man? This drug is sponsored by what? Who we sponsored by, DA?
Pfizer. Mr. Pfizer.
Hey, don't turn into Travis Kelce now. Come on, chill, man. Come on now. We ain't Travis Kelce out here. Come on, man.
DA, what you got for us, bro?
Everybody be cool, man. Don't get in no trouble. I'll see y'all Sunday morning. We talk about that college football.
No doubt. D-Dog, what you got for us, man?
Yo, good show. Appreciate everybody stopping by.
Jay and
thanks to our
Peter,
guests.
Man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to our guests, man. Coming on, giving us some of their time. We appreciate everybody, man. Sports Chasers Podcast every Thursday, 7:30. Come out, rock with us. Hate us, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. So we appreciate it all.
Gotcha. Thank you, D-Dog.
You gotta hate us now. We all
subscribe.
We want it all, brother. We want it all. We gotta love the hate too. We gotta come with it, comes with it, bro.
Hate us, unsubscribe.
He just felt offended. He said, "They ain't gotta hate us, man."
Yeah, man.
Life is good, man.
Yo, man. Hey, man. That was the Floyd Mayweather, recipe, baby. The more people that hated him, man, they came out to watch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I don't even know what to say after that, but I'll say this.
Haters.
The merchandise is coming. November 1st, you'll be able to get cool stuff like this. I think DA got some stuff on. Dan got some gear. You'll be able to get some gear, rock our gear. Supporters. Thank you for all those that had an opportunity to watch tonight. If you feeling really generous tonight, you can go into the chat, and it's a super chat thing. Just hook us up and donate to us, man. We're trying to grow the platform. We are growing the platform, and we're gonna need your assistance, man. So thank you.
We appreciate y'all.
Anything that you can donate, man. Anything you can donate to the platform, man. We appreciate it so we can grow this thing. And as I said, this is a sports show, not only just a basketball show, not only just a hockey show and etc. It's a sports show, and we talk all sports. We come in your lane. If your thing ain't, you want to jump off for a little bit, then come back to whatever your lane is. Feel free to come back. But
we'll be here.
We'll be here.
And we'll love it all.
So all the soccer enthusiasts, man, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And man, we, like you said, we're trying to grow this platform. We're trying to make this thing big, as we can see, man. So a couple of things. Make sure you like, click, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure on the podcast sound and the sound of my voice, give us that five-star review and give us that comment, and so we can jack up the algorithm, man, and get some more eyeballs on the Sports Chasers podcast, man. But that's all the part shots I got. Hey, listen, have a great weekend. Like I said before, we'll be back here on Sunday morning for the Gridiron College Football Rundown, the top 25 college football. We talk for about a half an hour on college football, and then on Monday night at 7:30 p.m. we'll be back again, another half an hour. We'll talk about the NFL. We say half an hour. Sometimes we go over 45 minutes, but y'all know what time it is. We'll talk about the NFL, all that happened on Sunday night. On Sunday during the day, during the NFL games, and on the coming up for the Monday night game. I don't know who's playing Monday night. I don't have it in front of me.
Come on, Kay. Come on, stop. You don't know who's playing? Giants and Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
I'm not watching. I'll tell you that right now.
So that game, can they flex it? Is it too late to flex? Apparently not. So because the game is still in the tilt, right? So Yeah, as a Giant fan, it's not looking good for us, man. It's not good. I was asked today, yo, man, how can you go out to the game last Sunday, man? I said, stop. You wouldn't go either. Stop it. Yes.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah, there you go, Dan.
Woo!
There you go.
I'm so glad I didn't go out there because I know what time it was. Man. Listen, let me get out here before somebody else says something crazy. On behalf of myself, I'm Kevin O'Warren, your host and moderator, for Darryl D. Del Warren, for Dorian Jr., for the DA, for Dan, the hockey dude, for Mike Mills in his absence, for James, the angry one, Eric Warren in his absence, man. Yo, this is the Sports Chasers podcast. Be good, be blessed, have an awesome weekend. We'll holler back at you on Sunday morning. Peace.